Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Salmons, and in each episode we'll uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today I'm very excited to be joined by Arash Rahimpour, founder of Archer Insight. Through Archer Insight, Arash works with founders and leadership teams to sharpen their thinking, challenge assumptions, and make better strategic decisions, not from noise or hype, but from deep understanding and perspective. In a world full of opinions, trends, and quick tasks, Arash's work is about helping leaders pause, think clearly, and aim with intention before pulling the trigger. Arash, welcome to Founders Future. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me, Olivia. Really excited to be a part of the program today.
I'm really excited to have you here, and it's such a pleasure. I really appreciate your time. So let's dive into this. With all of my guests, I do actually like to start at the beginning of their journey. So if you don't mind briefly taking me back to what it was you was doing before you started up the company, and then from there, what was the motivation behind it?
Absolutely. So I'll take you slightly even further back than just before the company. I've been in sales and revenue for most of my career, and that goes back over 25 years. And so I built a career in understanding, the psychology of the buyer and the seller, understanding how to sell and solve problems of my clients through the solutions that I offered. Now, while in my sales career, I got to dabble in across a lot of different industries, a lot of different markets. What came out of that was this tapestry of knowledge and experience that didn't put me into a box of one industry, one market, one type of customer. About 10 years ago, I pivoted away from sales leadership, and the career that I had built within the sales team and started in the management consulting, working with hundreds of small and medium business owners and founders in helping them navigate the challenges of sales, from strategy to process to execution to hiring to data to metrics to even technology and the different digital tools that are coming up, especially these days. And that actual change in the landscape around technology is what led me to launch Archer Insight, a revenue agency that really helps small sized businesses, typically around the $3 to $5 million in annual revenue, predominantly, actually, mostly in the B2B side, to help navigate the change in revenue. We are moving away from the traditional revenue model, which is tied into increasing sales by hiring salespeople, or as I like to call it, investing in human capital. And where we're moving to is into a more of a systematized model that utilizes and leverages technology, automation, and AI to really replicate and augment and deliver predictable outcome when it comes to activity levels at
Nice.
the top of the sales funnel that most sales reps do today. And this allows these organizations to ultimately shift their focus, deliver predictable outcomes, and be able to actually grow their revenue without adding headcount.
Amazing. So with obviously, let's dive into that a little bit more. So when it comes to Archer Insights, um, obviously you mentioned they were helping people like companies five to increase their revenue. Is there a particular term or a particular type of industry that you like to work with, or is it just very much anyone that needs that kind of service, we're good to go?
I personally prefer to work with businesses, like I said, in the B2B market.
Yeah.
I work with a lot of US, Canada, and
Awesome.
European clients in general, both from a time zone specific, given that I'm, in Toronto, Canada, and the knowledge that I have across selling into those major markets that I mentioned. I also tend to stay away from technology industry businesses, mostly because I would say 80 to 90% of my peers in this industry focus on that,
Yeah.
on the tech
I
side.
think yes.
So staying away from the tech and being able to actually translate what I do outside of using the jargons that are so dominant in the communication of GTM and revenue these days is a superpower that I have, because at the end of the day, what I'm able to do is solve the major problem that these organizations at this size level are facing, which is the reliance on salespeople and human capital to grow their revenue. And the fact that it's a fairly non-saturated market, the non-tech side, it really gives me a competitive advantage in being able to deliver
Yeah.
great value to these organizations.
Yeah, 100%. And then what does that process look like? So how are you going into the business? Like, what is it like to work with you, Arash?
It's a really great question. So a big thing that is different from my perspective is that I am not in it to deliver a service that never ends. So
Okay.
while, it's a majority, and I'm thinking like 90 plus percent of GTM agencies, and by GTM I mean go to market or revenue agencies out there, or lead gen agencies, all of them are pretty much in the same bucket. A lot of them, they provide a service. So you pay a certain level of retainer amount, and they will provide you with the outcome, hopefully. And as long as you pay, they keep the tap open. I
Mhm.
find this model to not be really efficient for the business owner. And
Yeah.
so instead of doing that, what I do is I build systems that my clients ultimately get to own. I build their own customized revenue models, that is specific to their customers, their markets, their buyers, their messaging, et cetera, et cetera. And after working with me for a period of 3 to 4 months, depending on the complexity, they have their own system, they own it, and as long as they pay for the technology, they continue to have that for as long as they desire. um, and that's a big difference between myself and a lot of my peers in the industry, is the fact that my clients end up with a product and not an indefinite need of spending for my services.
100%. And they actually get to see the benefits you're providing with that service as well. Because the other half with the agencies, when it is on that retainer base, sometimes you don't know where that ad spend's going, you don't know where the money's going, you don't understand why a top of funnel isn't working, and neither do they on their end because it's such a miscommunication. So the fact that they're not relying on you the whole way through that, and as you say, once the service is done, we can then leave you to it and you can continue sailing that ship on your own.
Absolutely. And the
Yeah.
reality is that there's always more work to be done. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not like, once I'm done, I'm not there anymore. I work in partnership with my clients.
So good.
The depth of value that I could offer, top, middle, bottom of the funnel, post acquisition, through the decades of management consulting, coaching, training, business coaching, leadership, training that I have,
Mm.
can really help organization go from their initial $3 to $5 million in annual revenue to 10 to 15 to 25 and 50, as we grow, as we scale the business, and can really help them deliver that predictability that in most traditional model doesn't exist.
And that's what you want, the reliability and the predictability from it so you can adjust and continue to go. I do want to get into the nuts and bolts a little bit of the business. So like when it comes to marketing,
Yeah.
how are you going about doing that yourself? So like what channels, what methods are you really finding most effective in finding those right companies to work with?
Absolutely. I think for us, at Archer Insight, there are a few different channels that really work well. First and foremost, I have developed, a couple of hundred, maybe a few more, relationship across the SMB market, with my past experiences as a management consultant. So leaning on my a network, on the relationship, that I already have, and help them move them along with this change that's an eventuality anyway. Businesses really have about 3 to 5 years to start adopting these new strategies. Otherwise, they're going to become irrelevant in this new market that is being developed as we speak. And that's, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not, is happening. The other part is LinkedIn is a incredible source of B2B businesses for me, and ability of not only expanding my personal brand, putting out content and thought leadership through that platform, and building relationship through the different outlets that it offers. Everything is organic, so this is not about paid ads. This is
Okay.
around putting content out and having valuable conversation in the DMs.
Yeah.
I think a lot of founders tend to focus on impressions and likes and comments, but the real magic happens in the DMs. It happens on a one-on-one basis, and being able to leverage that platform in that way, it drives incredible amount of growth for us and for any organization. And then, it would be silly to be a systematized revenue agency and not have our own system,
Right.
in place to do outreach. So using, the decades of knowledge and experience around how to position and how to communicate, and having a system that could automate a lot of those activities for us is really key to showcasing our own proof of concept. And
Yeah.
when our clients come to us, they would have experienced already what we could do for them by having the fact that they are the ones who've been educated in what we do. They've been pre-qualified, and they're the one who are seeking the information and the answers to the questions. And
Yeah.
so, they're coming to us curious. They're not coming to us feeling like they're being coerced or quote unquote tricked in taking a meeting. They're the one who are coming in with the intent of learning and seeing if there's an opportunity for us to support and help them.
I like that. And nice that you're walking the walk, as you say, and actually
Absolutely.
doing what you provide. That's such an important key to that. A lot of people miss. And I suppose, have you ever thought about, like, obviously when it comes to LinkedIn and being authentic online, that's such a great aspect and such a great avenue to take. But had you ever considered running ads and then running that to your like DM flow? Because I understand what you're saying. Followers do not equal revenue, they do not equal leads. But magic does happen in the DMs. That could be a great avenue to take. How would you approach
Yeah.
on that?
I mean, I think there's a really great value in ads and LinkedIn ads or Google ads
Mm,
or other paid marketing. And I know a lot of great agencies and a lot of my peers are really that's a big push for them this year, in 2026. What I have found for us at Archer Insight is that the sheer volume um,
yeah.
of opportunity that we've been able to create hasn't required us to spend money in ads.
Yeah.
My clients, again, maybe because I am working with traditional businesses, what tend to happen at the $3 to $5 million revenue range businesses is that what's missing is fundamental foundational challenges. And so before we start spending money on ads, we really have to fix the architecture behind the way that they generate revenue. Obviously, a lot of these businesses do have a sales team, depending of ranging between 3 to 5, and and I would say 90% cases, the founder is still actively involved in the sales activities as well.
Mm.
But everything is reactive. There's no actual process, or as I call it, foundation or architecture in place. So fixing that first and foremost,
Yeah.
providing um, a system, a structure that automates many of those low value add activities, helping their sales team to actually focus on having conversation and closing deals and educating their prospects, um, reducing burnout, giving time back to the founder so that they don't have to spend 100 hours a week working on their business.
Yeah.
And in most cases, they're working in their business that entire time. They haven't taken vacation for 5 years minimum. Their family, doesn't recognize them anyway. And so being able to really give that back to them, giving the founders and my clients the ability of taking a step back, feeling reassured that revenue is actually coming, that profits are higher, cost is lowered, all really work well in these early stages.
Yeah, so and actually you're giving them gift back of time, right? As you say, and that's such a precious thing. In a way, kind of a little bit better than revenue sometimes because you can't earn that back. And yeah, and I suppose what is your team like on the back end for you as well? Are you pretty much a solopreneur wearing all the hats and putting out all the fires yourself?
Well, I am a solopreneur, but I do have a team under me and behind me and beside me.
Everywhere around.
The entire way. We do work as a team in supporting one another. I've recently read a book called Who Not How, and I highly recommend to the readers, to the audience of the program, to check it out. And it's really around finding the who's in your life and your network that could really accelerate your growth and your ability
Mm,
of achieving it. And so for me, it's really around being the visionary, the leader, putting together the systems and the processes in place, bringing in the right team members, providing that vision to them, and letting them really run with it throughout their own house because they're the experts. And being able to really leverage that helps me not only help more and more clients, but not get boggled down into the weeds and the details that others are much better at it than I am.
yeah. So you can really sit in your zone of brilliance and, as you say, just run what you need to run.
Absolutely. And I mean, don't get
Support
me
the
wrong,
whole
it always, as I say it, that's in itself is the vision.
thing.
It takes time
Life
to
happens.
to
I get
get
it.
to that vision, but
Yeah,
that's the direction that I am going, and Archer Inside is also is going.
I love to see that. I love to hear that. And I suppose what is the ultimate like goal for you when you think of scaling business? Like what is that vision and that goal that you're working so hard towards?
Well, the comedian in me would say is, world domination. But the reality, it's around a gradual growth. It's around reaching out and helping as many businesses to pivot and move towards this new model of revenue.
Yeah.
Understanding that there's a finite time. You could either be ahead and gain the competitive advantage today, or play catch up in about 3 to 5 years when your competitors have gained market share on you. So it's really around doing that. We are on the verge of hitting our seven figure, breaking through the seven-figure ceiling. In the next 3 years is to hit the eight-figure ceiling and then just really grow from there. I can't predict what that will eventually lead into. I don't have a crystal ball, but I know progression is a big key for me.
Yeah. I love that. And that's so important just to keep going. As you say, like the overall goal is there and we're just gonna mosey our way down through it. And where are you finding maybe the biggest challenge for yourself in getting to that eight figure and beyond at the moment?
Um, I think in the current stage that I'm at is being able to bring in the right who's to
Okay.
get me there. Finding, spending the time in juggling what needs to be delivered for my clients and the business, while also
Mm.
bringing in the supporting individuals within my organization to help me get there. I think um, one of the challenges in working with non-technology companies and more traditional companies like manufacturings and constructions and professional services is that they've been drinking the Kool-Aid of traditional selling forever. And
Yeah.
now you're coming in and providing a digital technology driven solution that may not feel comfortable. It's funny because companies tend to be comfortable spending 80, $100,000 in hiring a salesperson, but you ask them to invest 1 or 2% of their ARR in digital solutions, or even a tenth of that, and it's like it's impossible to get them to do it. Ask them to spend
Yeah.
$1,000 in technology, that's too much. Ask them to hire somebody for $100,000 a year, yeah, that's the average price. So I think it takes a bit of education right now into the market in helping them see the light and understand what needs to happen.
Yeah, break out of those traditional molds, as you say, and just embrace it because technology is not going anywhere. It's only growing and increasing, and we need to kind of keep up with it sometimes as well.
Absolutely. I think it's the idea that most people are uncomfortable with change
It's
in
very true.
general. And really what I am, selling, so to speak, is the fact that change is inevitable and
Yeah.
that, your survival depends on this change.
It is, and I'm glad that weight of the world is on your shoulders and not mine, Arash. But thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your incredible journey and insight with us. Such a great time chatting with you. Where can our listeners reach out best to work with you and check out all the amazing work that you're doing at the moment?
Absolutely. So they could find me on LinkedIn with Arash Rahimpour being my handle. Um, there's also the Archer Insight, and it's Archer Insight singular handle on the LinkedIn company page. We are in the process of relaunching and rebranding our website as well. It's going to be archerinsight.ai. And that should be ready as early as the next couple of weeks, early January 2026. So they could find me in all those different places.
Oh, amazing. And there we go. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to go and check out Arash and Archer Insight. And do not forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favourite podcasts. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we went from $0 to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. But until then, keep on climbing and we will see you on the next one.